Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Classics with Courtney. I know this is Wuthering Heights month, but unfortunately, there isn't very many Wuthering Heights adaptations between the silent era and the 1960s. So I figured I will go ahead and share the spotlight with Emily Bronte's sister Charlotte, and we'll tackle a couple TV versions of the Jane Eyre adaptation. So today we are going to take a look at the Westinghouse TV production starring Charlton Heston and Mary Sinclair. Ironically, they both played in the 1950 Westinghouse Wuthering Heights version. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 1949 version of Jane Eyre.
My coach is due at any moment, Mrs. Breakfast, so I will not detain you from your morning's work. Goodbye.
You are a wicked, ungrateful girl. Do not turn away from me, Jane Eyre. I have something to say. We have one way of dealing with teachers who run off and leave us short-handed. When they return, begging for shelter, this gate is locked. We have our ways of dealing with ingratitude.
For what am I supposed to be grateful? For the years of humiliation? I pity the wretched, trusting children that passed through this fate into your merciless hands.
How dare you?
For I was one of those children. I have waited 18 years to escape this fate, and to escape you, Miss Scratcher. No, I shall never return. It is true. I have no family or friends, but God gave me spirit, which even Lowood School was unable to quench. My coach has come.
God will punish you.
No, I think it will be you that will be punished.
So Mary Sinclair as Jane Eyre so far is not bad. I think she is quite pretty for the role, which diminishes the whole plain Jane type, but she does okay so far.
Oh, bonsoir, mademoiselle. Bonsoir, Adele. Oh, I do believe we are going to be good friends. Oui, certainement. Mademoiselle, are you from Paris too? No, Adele. Is that where you were born?
Oui, oui. I lived along ago with Mama. Mama has gone to the Holy Virgin. She taught me to sing and dance and say verses.
Then you shall sing and say a piece for me tomorrow.
And will you love my cher Mr. Rochester when he comes?
Oh, I shall do my best to please him.
Who is there? What are you doing here?
My room is across the hall. I heard a strange laugh.
How did you get in here?
The door was ajar.
I must have forgotten to vote it. Well, you may not have been informed, but you must never open this door. Indeed, you must never enter this part of the house.
There.
Well, that was tense. I will say that I think the music that they chose was pretty creepy, and then the way the secret wife, Bertha, screams is really unsettling. So I think they did the scene pretty good.
I'm so thankful you're not yet asleep, and that you haven't gone to bed. Now, Leah, run downstairs quickly and tell Bess to prepare a hot supper. The master has just arrived from London.
Mr. Rochester is here?
Yes, he arrived a few moments ago. Now, Jane, you must come quickly to the library. No, he was not expected, but as I told you, his arrivals and departures are always unpredictable.
He's seated, if you please. Well, a little nearer. Here. I'm not a mad dog about to bite.
Okay, the line of "I'm not a mad dog about to bite you" sounded a little bit more realistic than in the 1961 Jane Eyre when she meets Rochester in that version. And he just goes, "Well, come on over here. I'm not going to eat you." I'm like, what? Yeah, this one definitely had a better line delivery for sure.
You examine me, Miss Eyre. Do you find me handsome?
No, sir.
On my word. And there's something singular about you. You sit quiet and grave with your eyes in the carpet and your hands in your lap, and then of a sudden you rap out an answer like that. Explain yourself.
There is nothing to explain.
I see. Well, you're very straightforward. That's something I like. As you see, Jane, I've usually only the fire to keep me company. I'm sure you can suit me better than that. From the very first, you intrigued me. I wish to learn more about you, so speak.
Indeed, sir, there is nothing to learn.
You think me a fool, Jane?
Oh, no, sir. Far from it. May I ask if you are philanthropist?
Good Lord, no. That's not my reason in wishing to draw you out. Truth, though, there's something very singular about you. Those quiet, grave eyes. You never laugh, Jane?
Only when I'm amused, sir.
And I've yet to amuse you, huh?
Good night.
I don't really mean to flatter you, Jane. But you're cast in a different mold to anyone I've ever seen.
Good night, Mr. Russell.
Good night, Jane.
So, what's interesting to me is while I'm reacting to this version, because I have seen this version before, but in its entirety, I've seen it years ago. So I'm going through this once again, kind of fresh. But there's not much for me to really riff on. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I just want to be honest. I'm really liking it so far. And the fact that Charlton Heston has a really good chemistry with Mary Sinclair, they work well off each other, they're very cute together. So I'm really not having any issue with it right now. So definitely see what we get into. But yeah, I'm really liking it.
Who's there?
No, I'm all right, Jane. You came just in time.
I smell the smoke. Oh, sir, you might have been burned to death in your sleep. How did it happen? I heard a strange laugh.
You heard what? A coal from the fire set a light to my chair.
Where is it?
Repeat after me. A coal from the fire.
A coal from the fire. Hurting my hand.
Good night, gentle benefactress.
Okay, I spoke too soon. I gotta have a couple nitpicks here. One, was this telecast live? Because why is Mary Sinclair's hair exactly the same at night as it is in the day? Like at nighttime it should be down, but then it should be up during the day. So if the telecast was live, I can understand that, but if the telecast wasn't live, then I don't understand why they did that. Two, I understand, again, it's television, early television at that, but I think it's hilarious that they kept it in the living room. And the other thing is when Jane comes down and puts the fire out, he just takes a measly pillow and starts knocking it into the chair. I thought that was funny. And then three, he kind of gets like almost, I don't want to say violent or abusive, but the fact that, he yells at her and he's like, "You heard what?" And then he grabs her and he's like, "Repeat after me." I'm like, okay, I don't really like that. They could have done without that. But yeah, those are the nitpicks I have so far.
And lock your door.
All right, geez, I'll lock my door. Geez, calm down.
Nevertheless, she has a quiet and pleasing touch in the spinet. I'd have a play for you.
Discovered us to perform for us. That will be a new experience, Mama. Sir,
I've come to ask you to play to us.
if you will excuse me, sir, I was about to put Adele to bed. She wanted to stay up for a few moments to see the party.
Now, can Leah put her to bed?
Wait a minute. You're the one that said that she can only play a little. You clearly didn't like the way she played earlier.
That's enough. You play a little, as you say.
So why are you forcing her to play in front of Blanche and her mother? Are you trying to humiliate the poor girl?
23 this year, and everyone says she'll be an old maid, even with a dowry of £6,000 a year. Thank you, that was charming. Your governess is not obsessed with the best manners, Edward, I would say. I'm surprised that you would permit to have somebody in your household behaving in such a manner.
For I love this place, and I must leave it.
Leave it?
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Fairfax, you are a true friend, are you not?
I hope I am, Jane.
I feel that you are. That's why I can tell you. I love Mr. Rochester.
Oh, child. I feel deeply sorry for you. Have you so much mistaken his interest in you, Jane?
I think not.
He's a lonely man. He's found you a ready listener. That he likes. It is nothing more, Jane.
I know it is nothing more. I am not beautiful and gifted like Blanche Ingram. He will marry her for her rank and connections. So I think she does not charm him greatly.
Do not count on that, Jane.
Though she smiles so lavishly upon him, I think she does not feel anything deeply.
Mr. Rochester has a fortune, Jane, and the Lady Ingram has been lately impoverished. She will not let him go if she can do aught to hold him.
Is he so blind?
All men are blind, Jane. Oh, child, child.
Do not pity me, Mrs. Fairfax. Only help me.
So if you're not a Jane Eyre purist and you love the romance in the story, then it's easy to overlook this little bit. However, if you're a Jane Eyre purist, I can understand why many people probably have a problem with this. The fact that she confesses to Mrs. Fairfax her love of Rochester, that is not something that Jane would have done. Jane doesn't really confess or confide into too many people. She's a very quiet person. It takes a little while for her to come out of her shell when it comes to Mr. Rochester. Now, Mrs. Fairfax is definitely one of the sweetest characters in the story, and she does befriend Jane rather quickly, and she becomes a real friend. Like, she doesn't screw her over or anything like that later on. But she still isn't going to tell Mrs. Fairfax her true feelings. This isn't what you would call a modern day romance like a Bridget Jones movie or something where a character is going to tell a friend at a bar or something about her feelings. Jane doesn't do that. So on one hand, I can understand where the problem lies when it comes to this, but looking at it from 1949 and a TV adaptation, my guess is they just wanted to do something a little different. I don't really know. You can still kind of portray her true feelings without having to express them. So I guess this is either a hit or miss depending on what you are into. For me, I don't think it's a huge deal, but at the same time, it does take away from the actual character of Jane Eyre. So I don't know. I'm probably more against it than for it, but it's not something that I'm going to write home about either. So that's my thoughts on that.
What's this all about, Jane?
I'm sorry to have angered you, sir. It was my intention to tell you myself.
Well, Jane, what have I done?
Nothing. Nothing to offend me, sir, believe me. It is only that I must leave Thornfield.
Then what I've heard is true.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see the necessity?
You, sir, have placed it before me.
In what shape?
In the shape of Miss Ingram, sir. Your bride.
My bride? I have no bride.
But you will. I think it best that you send Adele to school and that I find a position elsewhere. I have heard of one in Ireland.
Ireland? Do you need to go so far?
The sea will be a barrier.
From what, Jane?
From England. Thornfield.
Well?
And you?
Another key change is that Mr. Rochester's not the one who threatens to send her away. Okay, granted, threaten might be a really bad word, but basically he's not the one that says, "Oh, I've heard of one in Ireland. I'll totally set it up for you." In this, it's Jane that makes that decision, and Rochester's like, "Wait, why are you going to Ireland? Like, why?" So that's actually kind of fun. Fun change.
Because you're sorry to leave Thornfield?
I agreed to leave Thornfield, sir, for I love this house. And I shall always remember you.
No, you're not as clear-eyed as I thought you were, Jane. You've let me down. You don't look as far as you should. But by heaven, may heaven forgive me, I can wrestle no more. Jane, you shall be convinced, Jane. It's because of you. Because of you, don't you hear me?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Maybe if you put your face really close to mine, maybe I can hear you. Okay, let's try that.
What love is Blanche Ingram for me? None. What love have I for her? None but you. You are my love, Jane. My life, my happiness. You, small and obscure and poor and plain as you are, I cannot live without you.
Oh, sir, you hurt me too dreadfully. Please do not make sport of me.
Make sport of you. For my love, Jane. Jane, will you marry me? I can't bear it any longer. I've loved you from that first quiet moment when you stepped into this library.
Sir, and you are in earnest about wishing to marry me?
Yes, Jane, marry me. Even if you don't love me, I can't expect that passion in you. No one can love as I love you.
Oh, Mr. Rochester, I do. I do.
So, all joking aside, I will admit I do love this proposal in this version. It's definitely different from the book, for sure. The whole scenery is different, but I think they handled it really well. And even though I was joking about Charlton Heston grabbing Mary Sinclair like that, personally, I do find that kind of attractive in a way. But yeah, so I really like the proposal scene in this version.
We are gathered here today in the sight of God and his holy tabernacle, to join together this man and this woman in the bonds of holy matrimony. Ye do now confess it, or forever hereafter hold your peace.
Stop. I declare an impediment. I declare this marriage to be illegal.
What is the nature of this impediment? Perhaps we
Get
can...
the bill inside quickly.
What is happening, Mr. Fairfax?
What is the nature of this impediment?
A previous marriage. Mr. Rochester has a wife living.
Who are you?
My name is Briggs. I'm a solicitor from Chesney Lane, London.
If this document be legal, it may prove a marriage, but it does not prove I have a wife living.
You have a wife living in this house. I have a witness to that fact.
You, Mr. Rochester!
His wife is my sister, and she is living in Thornfield. How much longer do we have to wait?
I have sent Grace Poole to fetch my wife.
Is that entirely necessary? Mrs. Poole has told us that she's in one of her worst phases today. It might be dangerous to bring...
You will wait.
I mean, you did stop the wedding. The least you could do is meet the wife.
Jane, you won't leave me.
I must.
You hate me now. There's every reason why you should. You love me no longer.
I will love you as long as I live.
Jane, you're stronger than I. Stay here. Let's be happy now. I'll love you all my life.
Oh, my dear master, God bless you. And keep you close to me, in spirit, always.
Jane! Jane! My love. My life. My happiness.
Great job! That's gonna get you someplace. Well done.
Whispering to me.
Jane.
Her black hair was streaming against the flames. She was screaming and shouting. Before we could restrain him, Mr. Rochester had rushed back into the house. We saw him climb out of the window and approach her. And then, with a terrifying scream, she jumped.
But is he safe? Oh, tell me he's not dead.
No, he's not dead.
Oh, thank God. Then he's here.
Yes, he is here. John or Lear would have guided you if you had called.
I couldn't bear it in the house any longer. It was full of movement, as if she were here again. I could hear her skirts in the passage. Send Lear to fetch me when it grows dark. Is it twilight yet?
It's getting near nightfall, sir.
Well, I shall sit for a while. Someone's there. Who is it? Leah? Betty? Is that you, Betty? Would you jest with me? I'm not amused. Who is it?
Don't you know?
Oh, no, this is some dream. These are her very fingers. Her small, slight fingers. Tears. Who has tears for me?
You're Jane.
Tell me I'm not dreaming or my heart will burst.
Oh, my dear master. I've come home. Never to leave again.
Say.
So upon new viewing, I definitely think it's fine for what it is. It's cute. It's its own thing. Its own adaptation of Jane Eyre while also doing its own thing. I do kind of like the casting. I love the actress who plays Mrs. Fairfax. Mary Sinclair as Jane is okay. Charlton Heston as Rochester, also okay. I think they could have done some things a little differently. But for the most part, I do like his interactions with Mary Sinclair. Definitely an acquired taste, I think. It's one that I could sit and watch once in a blue moon. There are some moments I like in this version that I go back and watch, but as a whole, I don't watch it very often, of course. Basically, it just depends on the person. If you're not a Jane Eyre purist, you may find some things in this version that are cool, or you may just not like it at all. If you are a Jane Eyre purist, you are most likely not going to like this one. I believe most Jane Eyre TV adaptations were very loose, so to speak, when it came to the book. So that is something that you got to consider, I guess. So I can't really recommend it, but it was fun watching it. And like I said, I was getting into it pretty much. So it's not bad. I've definitely seen worse versions. So that's basically my little take on the 1949 Westinghouse Jane Eyre. So let me know in the comments below, have you seen this adaptation? And what are your thoughts? And what did you think of Charlton Heston as Mr. Rochester? And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Have a great and wonderful day.